you are here. I'm the Reverend Caitlin Cotter Coilberg. I'm the minister of this congregation, and I am delighted to welcome you on this Flower Ceremony Sunday when we're celebrating parenting and caregiving and the beauty of all of us. So welcome on this bright May morning to this virtual Sunday service. I am joined today by Worship Associate Sheila Chambers, by our music director Hannah Clark, and by our tech guru Matt Connolly, who will be also acting as our virtual usher. If you have any interest in helping with one of our virtual services, learning how to virtually usher, or helping with tech, or maybe making a music video that can be part of the service, or helping me with a reading, please let me know. My email is revcaitlin@gmail.com or uucharlestonminister@gmail.com. Just a reminder too that I will never ever ask you for gift cards over email or text. So if you get a strange looking email from me, it's probably someone pretending to be me. This is a phishing scam going around, unfortunately, that continues. And they're getting very clever in how they pretend to be ministers. So please be cautious and always double check before sending money over the internet. You can always send through our website or by mailing in checks. So please be aware, those are currently the two ways that we are accepting donations, not gift cards. Anyway, a few other things before we get started. Just so you know, next week is a big Sunday in the life of this congregation. After our usual Sunday service is our annual meeting. One of our principles is our belief in the democratic process, and we practice our values by gathering together this year over the internet. So it's very important that you turn on your computer next Sunday to be there for our virtual annual meeting. And I look forward to seeing you there. A few other things. We're going to do a pen pal program this summer. So if you are interested or willing or hesitant but excited to do anything that is community building this summer, please email me. There are some details in a letter I just sent out, and they will be in the weekly update this week as well. So we'll be sending out more information about that, and we look forward to getting as many folks involved as we can. And of course, our own Neil Chakravarty is leading a UU and Me afternoon program, both for those new to us and those returning long-term members, but especially for those new folks, as a way of getting to know more about us. So now, as we begin this service, I offer you these words by the Reverend Linda Susan Ulrich. The cloudless, watery blue sky has yet to learn about the small virus wreaking havoc on the earth below. The red buds emerging from winter trees have no idea they're awakening to a world where people can't hold the hands of their dying. The wind blows chill air through, whether or not cheeks and fingers remain protected within walls. Stars continue to burn, their great stores of energy. Do they also fear the day they'll run out? But the birds know everything about singing to each other across empty spaces. Dogs understand greetings that don't involve touch. Tortoises take things slowly and carry their sense of home everywhere. Cats flatten their curves all the time. What will history write about this moment? What will our children remember? May it be a story of mutual care across all boundaries, a habit of compassion as hopeful as the spring's return and as encompassing as the vaulted sky. So in honor to both of our flowers and of Mother's Peace Day, I'm going to offer you this recording of Unitarian Julia Ward Howe's Mother's Peace Day proclamation, which is offered in the original gendered language. Give me just 1 second, technical difficulties. There, it's right there. There we go.
Arise, all women who have hearts.
Whether your baptism be that of water or of tears.
Say firmly, we will not have great questions decided by irrelevant agencies.
Our husbands shall not come to us reeking with carnage for caresses and applause.
Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience.
We women of one country will be too tender of those of another country,
to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs.
From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own.
It says, disarm,
Disarm.
disarm.
The sword is not the balance of justice.
Blood does not wipe out dishonor, nor violence indicate possession.
As men have often forsaken the plow and the anvil at the summons of war.
Let women now leave all that may be left of home for a great and earnest day of council.
Let them meet first as women to bewail and commemorate the dead.
Let them solemnly take counsel with each other as to the means whereby the great human family can live in peace.
Each learning after their own time the sacred impress, not of Caesar, but of God.
In the name of womanhood and of humanity,
I earnestly ask that a General Congress of Women without limit of nationality
may be appointed and held at some place deemed most convenient and at the earliest period consistent with its objects.
To promote the alliance of the different nationalities.
The amicable settlements of international questions.
The great and general interest of peace.
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 Each year in early May, it is time again to celebrate Mother's Peace Day, a time to celebrate those who parent, grieve with those who haven't had the opportunity to parent or who have lost a parent or child or pregnancy, acknowledge those who find this holiday difficult for any number of reasons. It is an important part of our legacy as Unitarian Universalists, this holiday, not the version that's all about cards and flowers and chocolates, but the original version, the holiday dedicated to the work of peacemaking. Peace always feels so loaded. It means so many different things to so many different folks. I'm feeling that this year. I know there are a lot of parents in this pandemic and caregivers who would love some of the peace that is the absence of noise, conflict, and overwhelm, right? Just some peace and quiet and calm and maybe some solitude. Blessings on those parenting in this moment of global crisis. And there are others who long for the peace of mind that comes from knowing all you love are safe and well, who wake every morning and go to bed every night nervous and frightened and longing for that form of peace. Blessings on those who are in danger and those whose hearts are aching. And of course, we know that the peace we work towards as a religious tradition is not a negative peace, that is not a simple lack of war or conflict, but an end to violence, the violence of racism, poverty, transphobia, and so on. Blessings on those working for equality, equity, and justice. We hold in our hearts all those seeking peace from deprivation and hatred. It is okay. It is okay if the peace you are seeking now is not some grand, sweeping thing, but the peace that comes from seeing a familiar smile on your screen, or resting for a moment with a cup of tea or coffee, or gazing into a flower. We are together in the work for a larger peace, and that means seeking out and creating space for ourselves and others to rest in whatever simple, sweet peace we need. I am so glad you are here on this day and this week, this month, this terrible year. May we stay connected even as we stay apart. If you got a paper butterfly from me in the mail this week, I invite you to keep it in your hand as we move into the service. You don't have to go looking for it if you don't have it. That's totally okay. But if you do have it, I invite you to hold it in your hand, especially now as we move into singing together with Dr. Glenn Thomas Rideout in just a moment. And I would like you during the service to invite you to write on your butterfly something you are wishing for, working for, practicing hope for. I invite you to write that whenever you would like in this service. And then after this service, I invite you to plant that butterfly. There should be instructions with your butterfly on how to plant it. A seed for the tomorrows we dream of. Like the butterflies, we rise, each of us fragile and beautiful and born on the wind together. Like the rose, each of us blossoms and unfurls in our own time. So at this time, I invite you to join me in singing I Know This Rose Will Open with Dr. Glenn Rideout.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know, 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 I know. I know, 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 know this rose, I know this rose, I know my fear, I know my fear, I know my soul, I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose, I know this rose, I know this rose, I know my fear, I know my fear, I know my soul, I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose, I know this rose, I know this rose, I know my fear, I know my fear, I know my soul, I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose, I know this rose, I know this rose, I know my fear, I know my fear, I know my soul, I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose, I know this rose, I know this rose, I know my fear will burn away fear. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. Unfurl its wings. I know this rose, I know this rose, I know this rose, I know my fear will burn away fear. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. Unfurl its wings. I know this rose, I open this road, open, open, fear will open. I know my soul will unfold its wings. I know this rose will open.
So at this time, I invite you into what would usually be our time of greetings. We're going to do this through the chat box. So there should be a chat function, whether you're on a tablet, a phone, a laptop, a computer, however you are joining us. And I'm not sure where that music's coming from. It is lovely, but strange. Apologies. YouTube kept playing after that beautiful thing. So this is the time of greetings. I invite you to type in your chat box some words. What are you wishing for this week for others? What good thoughts or blessings do you want to wish each other? So just type hello in the chat box. It should have started blinking with a message of Happy Mother's Day from Betsy and Sam. So what are you wishing for each other today? Yes, it's so good to see you, Sue. What else? What words do we have to say of greeting for each other this morning? Happiness, peace, and health to all from Stephanie. Thank you, Stephanie. Enjoying the sunshine and hoping for more. Absolutely. Yes. Hope everyone gets to hold a loved one, if not physically, at least through the internet. Yes. Some peace in whatever way you find it from that, respite from anxiety. Yes, everyone's sanity and freedom from boredom, some calm, peaceful time, a peaceful week. A wish from Penny and Bill. Penny and Bill. All right. Peace for all. Love and greetings from Scotland. Excellent. Yes. So we are apart, we are together in new ways over the internet now. Fabulous. I am going to move us into our chalice lighting time. And if someone would please unmute Sheila so that she can read our chalice lighting word. Sheila, could you read us some chalice lighting words now? Let's see. I think we may have lost our worship associate from the call. So I'm just going to say that we light this chalice to honor all of those who are practicing love this week in large and small ways. We hold them in love as they love us and others. Almost set myself on fire, but I didn't. It's okay. And at this time, Hannah, if you would unmute yourself and lead us in our first hymn, hymn number 21, and I'm going to share.
Yeah, I know, but I.
For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. Source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of ear and eye, for the heart and mind's delight, for the mystic harmony, linking sense to sound and sight. Source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the wonder of each hour of the day and of the night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light, source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of human care, sibling, cousin, parent, child. For the kinship we all share, for all gentle thoughts and mild, source of all to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise.
So our story for all ages today comes again from history. So we don't know that it happened exactly this way, but I do know that it's true, that far away in a far off city called Prague, in a land called at the time Czechoslovakia, in the spring of the year 1923, Maja and Norbert Čapek served a Unitarian church they had founded together. Now this church, the building of it at least, did not look much like what people were used to churches looking like. It had no bells, no spires, no stained glass windows. It had no organ to make beautiful music. It didn't even have a piano. It had no carvings of wood or statues of stone, no candles or even chalices. It didn't even have flowers. It was a very new church full of new ideas. The people of the church would come every Sunday and sit quietly in hard wooden chairs and listen as the minister talked. When Dr. Kopek was done speaking, the people talked a little bit among themselves and then they went home. That was all. No music, no candles, no food, not even coffee or donuts, not even hummus. No hummus in 1923 in this Unitarian church in Prague. Now, the Kopeks and the congregation they served had a lot of new ideas to talk about, new ideas that were also very old ideas, that there is beauty in our differences, that all people have inherent worth, that people in our beautiful plurality, that humanity in our differences is worth celebrating, that acceptance is a value worth celebrating. So they talked about all these ideas, but they wanted to do more than talk. They wanted to celebrate friendship and community and the beautiful differences of people in a new way in their new church. But what to do? What would be different from the rituals people were used to doing in the churches they used to belong to that still felt real and powerful and had that beauty that a really good ceremony has and its ability to touch our hearts? What, they wondered, would be a simple, loving way of sharing their message of acceptance. So one day, the story goes, in the spring of 1923, Norbert was out on a walk. So I assume that Maja was at this point home with the kids, because like that's a lot of our history stories, right? So the man gets to go for a walk and the woman's at home with the kids. I have to make that face. Anyway, so it was 1923. Maja was home. Norbert was off for a walk on this beautiful spring day. It had been raining, the birds were out, and the flowers were blooming. And the story goes that he was out for this stroll on this beautiful day in Prague, looking at the flowers, and he thought, of course, flowers. Flowers are all so different and so beautiful in their difference, just like people. We can celebrate our Unitarian ideas with a ceremony, a celebration of flowers. So the next Sunday, he asked all the people of his congregation to bring a flower or a budding branch or even a twig. Every person was to bring one. What kind? They asked. What color? What size? You choose, he said. Each of you choose what you like. And so on the next Sunday, which was the first day of Sunday for this first one, the people came with flowers of all different colors and sizes and kinds. There were yellow daisies and red roses, white lilies and blue asters, dark-eyed pansies and light green leaves, pink and purple, orange and gold. There were all these colors and more, flowers filled all the vases, and the church wasn't so plain anymore. Minister Kopek spoke to the people while they listened, sitting quiet and still in those hard wooden chairs. These flowers are like ourselves, he said, different colors and different shapes and different sizes, each needing different kinds of care, but each beautiful. Sorry for that pause. My computer did another strange thing. So as I was saying in this story, he said, these flowers are like ourselves, different colors and shapes, sizes, each needing different kinds of care, but each beautiful, each important and special in its own way. And when he was done speaking, the people talked a little bit amongst themselves, and then they each chose a different flower from the vases before they went home. And that was all. And it was beautiful. And of course, the story doesn't end there. Not everyone in Europe at that time liked the simple, beautiful ideas of that Unitarian congregation. There were some horrible people, right? The Nazis, who really didn't like these ideas of beauty and acceptance and love and friendship. Maja ended up in the United States during World War II, spreading the flower ceremony here, and Norbert ended up in a Nazi concentration camp. We honor them and all our spiritual ancestors who rose up in defiance of hatred and bigotry. We honor them and their spirit of courage and compassion and creativity by continuing the flower ritual today. And we continue it in new creative ways today. So at this time, I invite you to, if you can, move to gallery view. So there should be a little thing that looks like lots of, and hold up your flowers. I see some of you already doing it. Those are beautiful, Sam. Oh, I love your flowers, Bill. Those are so bright. Steve, your ferns are beautiful. Ah, Matt has some flower tea. We can see the flowers behind Sheila now. Ah, and Bill, I see you have your butterfly. Drew has a blue rose from our Blue Christmas service in his tea. Beautiful, beautiful. It takes many flowers to make a bouquet, and it takes many kinds of people to make a congregation. It takes all of us to make our congregation strong and special. Oh, Rebecca, I love that. Beautiful. Everyone in our fellowship needs a little something different. And in our ceremony, we pass a flower to our neighbor. Usually we'd be passing out these flowers. Oh, that's a beautiful purple flower, Mariam. But today we are doing this differently. We are still sharing our flowers. So thank you for holding those up to us. Oh, I have a special flower too. My spouse knitted these for me. How fun is that? Sometimes we have different kinds of flowers, right? So I offer on all of those flowers, on all of you, these words written by Norbert Kopek in 1923. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessings on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts to be one in desire and affection and devotion to thy holy will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of thy most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world. So at this point, I invite you once again to type in chat, what is flowering in your life? What is flowering in your life? Or you can just spend some moment, if you would, just looking around at each other's flowers again in gallery view. So what is flowering in your life? So Zoom meetings are flowering for sure. Music, yes, still music. even the part we may not be able to sing in the same room. Iris, yes, I'm seeing lots of blooming irises in my new ways to make connections. Kids, chives, reconnecting with old friends. Yes, all these beautiful blooming things, hobbies. Yes. So much is blooming out there in the world. Veggie gardens, right? It feels like a lot of us are going back to that World War II tradition of victory gardens right now, right? Growing our own vegetables and such. So beautiful, beautiful. Ah, yes, so much growing. And yes, a lot of our bodies are changing in this time. It's a beautiful thing how we are always changing. Yes. So at this time, I'm going to light our second candle, our COVID candle. Yes, introspection is a beautiful thing to be blooming right now. And we light this candle to recognize deaths due to COVID-19 and the particular pain of grieving and isolation, as well as all those on the front lines, healthcare workers, grocery store workers, janitors, and others. So I invite you, as always, to hold up your hands in blessing, if you would, if that is comfortable, as I light this candle and say these words. We light this candle in honor of those working on the front lines in hospitals, nursing homes, grocery stores, gas stations, and beyond. We light this candle to send our love to those dying in isolation, especially those we know and those who are loved by those we know. We light this candle to send our love to all those grieving alone. We light this candle in recognition of the enormity of this pandemic's impact on each of us, on those we love, on everyone, and even more so, and those already challenged by poverty, racism, transphobia, ableism, mental illness and disability, xenophobia, and more. We light this candle in grief, in honor, in recognition, in love. We are in this together. I invite you to breathe for a moment, holding all of this in your heart. And I offer you this prayer by Claire Feingold Thorin. Let us give thanks for a bouquet of people. We give thanks for children. Like tulips and iris, they multiply around us, making the world ever more filled with color, beauty, and new life. We give thanks for generous friends, as constant in bloom as echinacea, and whose gifts lift up our body and spirit. We give thanks for feisty friends, as indomitable as geraniums, and for continuous friends, who like a bittersweet and ivy hold on and never let go, can never be gotten rid of. For crotchety friends, as prickly as rose bushes, their beauty a secret that is only discovered through careful gardening. For surprising friends, who at first glance seem dour and then blossom into joy as quickly as for Cynthia. For funny friends, silly as snapdragons, and serious friends, complex as chrysanthemums. For comfortable friends, their gentle presence as soothing as the sweet smell of lilacs. For stormy weather friends, who are by us in solidarity in hard times, like a lily of the valley that cannot be deterred by shade or shadow. For old friends, nodding like sunflowers in the evening time, and young friends coming on as fast as flocks. For friends as unpretentious as dogwood, as persistent as Cassandra, as steadfast as azalea, and who, like snowdrops, can be counted on to see you through the winter and remind you that spring always comes. For loving friends, who wind around us like wisteria and embrace us despite our blights, wilts, and witherings. And finally, for forget-me-not friends, gone but never forgotten. Their beauty lives on in our memories and hearts. For this bouquet of people who brighten our lives, each in their own way, we give thanks. Amen. And I invite you to pause with me just for a minute. Perhaps close your eyes if that's what's comfortable, or rest your eyes on this chalice flame I invite you to remember all of those who love you, who have loved you in the ways that have mattered most to you, who you are holding in your heart this time and who are holding you. And Hannah, I invite you to lead us in our meditative hymn.
Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.
The definition in Webster Dictionary of caretaking is simply look after. That's what mothers do. And of course, that's what dads do too. My parents growing up had a lot of friends, and literally it was your home is our home. This made growing up pretty special because these friends were also our caretakers. They corrected us. They loved us. You know, Patty and I, we are sometimes caretakers for our nieces and nephews, our great nieces and nephews. We're caretakers of our animals. Yes, we mother them. By the term mothering, according to that, my father mothered us, and I'm thankful. Today, we celebrate Mother's Day. And I remember my mother on this day, as I do every year. I remember every Mother's Day sending her flowers and getting that phone call thanking me. You know, I started to do this reflection, and I thought many times about, you know, all the things that were so great about having the mother that I had. But there's one thing that stands out to me that gave me such a great life. That is her laughter. Her laughter was amazing. She never laughed to make fun of anybody. That was not right. But she was just so funny. She would pool gags. She would put underwear on her head. She really made us laugh. Our home growing up was full of laughter. She could find laughter in anything. Because of her, yes, because of her, our home was full of laughter. I'd like for you to take just one moment and really concentrate and think what that one main great special thing about your mother is. What do you cherish most? Today, we are thankful for our mothers. We are thankful for you.
And too, we hold in a special love all of those for whom this is a really painful holiday, or who maybe don't have good memories of a mother. We celebrate those who do mothering as a verb. We acknowledge that sometimes those are not our biological parents. We hold the pain of whatever connection to your parents may hold for you, as well as the many joys and the gifts that they have given you. And we celebrate all of those who care for our community. So we celebrate all of those who take care of our community in so many different ways. The congregation is its members and friends, right? It's not our building. It's never our building. It is us, however we gather, however far apart we are. So today I want to just take a minute to uplift those who go above and beyond to sustain our congregation, to carry it into the future. So of course that means people like Sarah Stone, our congregational administrator, who does so much to keep us going and has supported our congregation through so many challenges. And John, our sexton, who keeps our building safe and clean, and Hannah, who did not sign up to be a virtual music director, right? And has been learning new technology to lead us in song in this way. And Jocelyn Crawford, our RE coordinator, working on figuring out how to support our families in their time. Yes, it is our staff, but most especially we hold up our lay leaders, our friends, our members who do all of the large and small things that carry our congregation. So folks like our UUC president and chair of the board, Deborah Beatty, and folks like Laura Bickett and Andrea, who have done so much for our children's religious education programming, folks like Emily Hanna and Marion, who've done things for the nominating committee, Marion, who's done so much work on stewardship and with racial justice, Neil Chakrabarty, who is helping with worship and running our UU and Me program, in addition to serving on the board, and so many more. So I'd like us to try something a little wild. I'm going to invite you to move into gallery view again. And I'm going to try unmuting everyone at the same time. And I want you to try saying who you're grateful for in the congregation. Who are you grateful for? What have they done? Go ahead. I unmuted you. You can talk. I can hear you.
Deborah, Caitlin, Angela,
Angela. Yes.
All of you.
All of us.
Betsy and Sam.
Betsy and Sam.
Alan Rose.
Lynn Rose.
Up the sound.
Penny and Bill. Steve Goodman.
Deborah Beatty.
Thank you, Bill.
Bob and Jeanette, there you are. Hello.
yes.
You hear me?
Hiding in the shadows.
Thanks, Bill.
And to Matt.
Happy you're here.
Yeah.
All our volunteers and staff who keeps us running and going.
I'm thankful for everybody who has helped make this possible.
I remember the cat. I didn't remember the name.
Jane and Mary Beth.
Not today, no.
Beautiful.
I talked to her.
All right, thank you for all of those. And of course, next week in our annual meeting, we'll be expressing gratitude in new ways. I'm going to mute you all. And Sheila, if you can unmute yourself, and then I'm going to invite you to lead us in our introduction to offering.
While we cannot physically be together at this time, please remember the needs of UUC through your love, through your gifts.
And Hannah, were you going to lead us in some offering music?
Yes, my apologies.
Thank you.
Color and fragrance, magical rhythm, sweet changing music will change us with them. Life within life, inner light gently glowing. Surely you seem to be God's vision growing. And full of pebbles, high mountain passes, depths of the ocean, dew on the grasses, great things and small, with the light gently glowing, word of the wordless song, God's vision growing. In human eyes burns the soul of living, illumines altars of loving giving. Greeting we meet, seeing light brightly glowing, share in a greater life, God's vision growing.
Please join in the unison affirmation. Love is the spirit of our faith and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
There's a New York Times article going around. It's a story from New Jersey about a woman who's been going a few times every week to the Metropolitan Plant and Flower Exchange, which is apparently this like squat lime green building along something with the rather dreary name of Route 17 North in Paramus, New Jersey. She goes every week a few times to pick up an order of bright yellow flowers, preferably daffodils, but anything bright yellow. The woman's name is Tanisha Brunson Malone. She is a forensic technician for the morgue at Hackensack University Medical Center. The flowers she buys aren't for family or coworkers. She places them, one or two, depending on how many she has on a given day, on each of the bodies in her care, on each of them in the part of the morgue she oversees. You see, she is in charge of the bodies of the coronavirus victims waiting to be picked up by funeral home directors. And these flowers that she places on these bodies are only seen by her and the funeral home folks who come to pick up the bodies. She says she started buying the daffodils because she was overwhelmed by sadness and needed to do something. It was just something she did, just something I did, she said to the New York Times reporter, out of being emotionally exhausted and depleted. So there's a lot I love about this story. The unexpected beauty, right? Especially as experienced by the funeral directors who come to pick up these bodies who come in fearful to these tractor trailers parked in the hospital garage and are gobsmacked by this gesture. The New York Times talked to one funeral director who described how arriving the first time he had a feeling of dread and sadness. No funeral director has ever seen this. Going into a tractor trailer more. And then after stopping cautiously inside, he stopped and looked around and said, "Hey, Tanisha, what's up with all these flowers on the people? Do people actually leave flowers?" She said, "No, I did that. I just feel like it's the right thing to do." He says he fought a lump in his throat the first several times he told the story, that all three of us from the funeral home just stood there, so stunned. Sometimes, if we are lucky, we get these moments, right? These moments when what we expect is more fear and dread, and instead we are stunned by unexpected beauty and kindness, soft, gentle moments landing on us like a butterfly on a daisy. This forensic professional isn't being paid to leave flowers. In fact, she is paying out of her own pocket for these flowers that she leaves on these bodies in her care because she feels like it's the right thing to do. I love that. I love that she's doing it simply because it is the right thing to do. There's such beauty in that alone, that fact, doing something even though hardly anyone else will see it, doing it because it's the right thing. We're so separated from each other right now, and this can make it hard to do what we know in our hearts to be good and right. Just like it can be hard to do what we need to do for ourselves sometimes without others there to encourage us. And it's important that we do the things that matter in this way because self-care isn't selfish, because beauty and joy are worthwhile for their own sake, even if the only one who experiences it is you. I love that this professional forensic specialist did this both because it is right and because her heart needed it. Sometimes what we need to feed our own humanity is to create beauty, to find an act of kindness that reminds us of our own potential for goodness as human beings. This is one of the things that is part of hope as a practice, not giving each other hope like it's a box of chocolates we can just hand off, but living into a practice of hope, of possibility, even in the most depressing or distressing situations, even if no one but us will ever know. Dear ones, even if you are the only one who sees you today, even if no one else is witnessing how you are doing your best in a terrible, tragic time, if you are the only one seeing how you are doing the small things that make it possible for you to move from this day into the next, I hope that you know that the beauty you bring into the world, the beauty that is your life, your piece in our common story, our garden, is worthwhile. You are enough, right? I say that every time I lead a service. You are enough, but I want you to hear it a little extra right now. You are enough even if you are depressed or anxious or overwhelmed. You are enough even in your messiness. Your worth is not based on your productivity, it is inherent. Your beauty is not based on your size or weight or ability, it is inherent. Your body is a good body. Please eat what is good for you to eat and exercise for the joy of it, never to punish yourself for being a person living in a body during a global crisis. You are beautiful. You are worthwhile. You are good enough. I am glad that you are here taking up space. Take up space, dear ones. You are the bright flowers of our shared life, the unexpected daffodil. You are the butterflies rising together on a shared breeze. I am so glad you are here. And I'm going to invite you to join me in singing along with Dr. Rideout once more in My Life Flows On, an Endless Song.
My life flows on in endless song of all its lamentation. I hear the real, the far off hymn that hears a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest round me rolls, I know the truth it liveth. What though the darkness round me close, songs in the night it giveth. No storm to check my inmost calm, while to the rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ring, when friends rejoice for far and near, how can I keep from singing? To these and sad and to thine, our thoughts to them are winging. When friends by shame are undefiled, how can I keep from singing? My life flows on in endless song of all its lamentation. I hear the breeze of all of him that hears a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds like a soul. How can I keep from singing? How can I keep from singing? How can I keep from singing? How can I keep from singing?
Dear ones, to mother is a verb, to parent is a verb, whatever your gender, wherever you are in life. I hope this week you will live into mothering in the most positive way you can imagine. I want you to mother in the best ways your beautiful minds can imagine. I hope you will mother your own precious selves with tender gentleness and affirmation. Mother our community with fierce compassion. Mother our beautiful parent earth with protective, nurturing care. Whatever this day means for you, I hope you will find and create some joy and beauty this week. Cultivate some kindness. Do what your heart and our world needs to move towards more wholeness, empathy, and peace, even if no one else sees it. You are enough, beloveds. And though we are apart, you are not alone. Happy Mother's Peace Day, you beautiful butterflies, you gorgeous bouquet of folks. And at this time, we're going to move into our coffee hour. I'm going to stop our recording.